I'm Matt Varengo, and today I'm going to be talking about and giving a speech on why, in my opinion, Deflategate was a waste of time. Now, why is the reason that, in my opinion, I think Deflategate was a waste of time? Well, Deflategate was a complete waste of time because it was a situation that happened 5 years ago, starting in 2015, and till this day, there is no evidence of it being shown that there is any guarantee that this whole situation and scandal was actually true. And on the second page of the slide, you can see there is a picture of a court scene where you have Tom Brady and Roger Goodell in somebody drew that in that photo. That is them on one of the days during one of the trials in which both of them were there and hearing this whole appeal about this whole situation. What was Deflategate? Well, Deflategate was a scandal controversy that was involved between the New England Patriots and their quote-unquote tampering with the footballs that were used in the AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts on January 18th of 2015. And from there, the situation became so serious that it had to be taken care of in a federal courtroom. The people involved in the scandal were Tom Brady, Roger Goodell, the New England Patriots, the Indianapolis Colts, and Judge Berman. How long did the scandal last? Well, Deflategate lasted from January 18th, 2015 to July 15th of 2016. So given that time frame, that is a little bit over a year. The scandal was able to end because Tom Brady had to decide to choose not to further his appeal, and which then resulted him being suspended for the first 4 weeks in the 2016-2017 NFL regular season. And a little story behind this is the season before that, basically what ended up happening was, and I remember this, it was during my junior year, and that was the 2015 AFC Championship game. And what happened was they went through trial that year. So basically they went through trial all the way from when they beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl that year, from a couple weeks after all the way till I would say the end of July of the summer of 2015. That's when the trial basically started. And what happening was Tom Brady ended up beating it. But then the problem is during the season, I think it got to like around November and December, it started up again and they wanted to do another trial. So then after the next season, that's when him and Roger Goodell went to trial again. But then with that time, Tom Brady was just so frustrated that he wanted to end it. And then from there on, instead of continuing it on, he just said, let's just end this right now. And he was suspended for the first 4 games of the season. How much is a football supposed to weigh? Well, a football is supposed to weigh 13.5 ounces. But many people behind the whole investigation were claiming that New England was using footballs that were 12.5 ounces during the AFC Championship game. Do we know if that's true or not? We aren't really sure. But people behind it are trying to basically persuade that they did that. My thoughts about this whole scandal. My whole opinion is, as speaking for myself, I'm a New England Patriot fan, and when I first heard this whole scandal, I immediately thought that it was false because there's always been stories about, like, for the past 20 years of how the New England Patriots have had a dynasty and how they've won so many more games than any other sports team, especially in the NFL. And there's teams just harping on them constantly about just a lot. There's been a lot of fake stories about them, and then there's also been some true stories. Obviously Spygate, that was a true story that actually did happen. But as far as this whole Deflategate, I remember it was a week after and the week after the game. So it was a week before the Super Bowl in which they faced the Seattle Seahawks and beat Seattle. They were actually, that's when it started, the whole controversy started behind them, and where the refs, started with, the ball tampering, and how basically it got to such a huge, point where it got so serious that their ball boys, who each team has ball boys, and New England's ball boys, they took care of the footballs, and they were actually fired immediately because of how serious this situation got. And a lot of people are also proclaiming that they think that Tom Brady went to the ball boys and basically told them, hey, deflate and take some of the air out of these footballs, where nobody knows if that's true or not. I'm as unbiased as they can really be, and even in my opinion, I really don't think that happened. I think this whole situation was just way too carried away, and I think it just got to a point where it got so serious that I think even Tom himself got just tired, and that's why he took the 4-game suspension, because he just wanted it to end, because he also too, he was losing money from this. He was losing, I'm not really sure how many thousands of dollars, but he was losing a decent amount of money from this, because every single week he was going to trial, and it was also interfering with training camp, and it almost got into the preseason, but luckily both times they ended before then, because if it got to preseason, it would have really, really affected them. But yeah, so that's about Deflategate.